Welcome to One Tired Teacher, episode 52, 8 Mindful Tips for Teaching Gratitude to Children. I really hope that you are going to stick around today because we're going to be talking about gratitude and the importance of practicing gratitude and teaching children to practice gratitude. It can really transform the atmosphere in your classroom. It's definitely a proactive strategy for improving that climate in your classroom and preventing behavior problems, and really just developing relationships and mindfulness and self-compassion. So I hope you stick around.
Welcome to One Tired Teacher. And even though she may need a nap, this teacher is ready to wake up and speak her truth about the trials and treasures of teaching. Here she is, wide awake. Wait, she's not asleep right now, is she? She is awake, right? Okay. From Trina Debery Teaching and Learning, your host, Trina Debery.
Hey, so today we're talking about gratitude, and gratitude is such an important topic, especially, it's always an important topic, but it comes to the forefront often at this time of year, in this pre-Thanksgiving time. You've survived Halloween, and if you are now just recovering, then go back and listen to Teachers Surviving Halloween, which was episode 51. So I'll link to that in the show notes. And I got some good advice and tips from teachers, which was pretty funny. And now we're moving on to our Thanksgiving season and all things that we are grateful for. And since it's that time of year and we're already thinking about things we're grateful for, and it kind of comes naturally at this time of year, I want us to really do some self-reflecting, and I want us to do that with kids too, because I think that metacognitive thinking for kids is so essential. And if we start to get them to understand how they're thinking and why they're thinking what they're thinking, like with gratitude, I think that can be really powerful in your classroom. So it's that time of year, and we can do this practice all the time, every day throughout the year. It really helps us to have a better attitude, to help us have some self-compassion. It helps us to see some of the brighter sides of life, and I think sometimes that's really important. I know this is a really good practice for teachers, but I also think it's a really good practice for children, and I think it can be essential, especially when kids. I used to feel like it was really important for kids that were very entitled. And I felt like I worked in a school for a really long time, and I love those kids too. So I'm not going to generalize and say every child was entitled. I don't feel that way at all. I just think sometimes in higher socioeconomic schools, that can be the thing that we find is children that feel like they should get something, and where is their reward, and why are they not getting this, and I must have that too. And that is something to work on for sure. That I don't think there's anything that drives me more crazy than entitled people. And I have to check my own self when I have had that mentality of, why do I think I deserve to have, to be given this kind of treatment or this kind of grace or whatever, if I haven't, proven it, or I haven't offered it, or I haven't behaved in a way in which demonstrates that I am capable of doing something. So I think that I have to check my own self as well. But, one of the things that I just really think helps with like an entitlement mentality can be practicing gratitude. It really makes us look at the things for which we are thankful and looking at them in a new and different way, and really being aware of them all the time, having them on the forefront for us, especially when we're feeling like really negative or really sorry for ourselves. And that's where I also started to realize, going into a different type of school and spending a year in the largest Title I school in the district, one of the lowest 300 schools in our state, I started to realize that gratitude wasn't just for kids or for people that felt entitled. It was also for people that have very little. And I often see, and again, this doesn't mean to generalize, but I often see with children that come from poverty or have like traumatic events occur, they show a significant, like they show more gratitude sometimes when they're given something. And I think that is something very special to witness. But I also feel like it's important for us to teach them how to feel grateful for things that they do have, and even when they feel like they have very little. Because focusing on the things that we have, like our health or our eyes to see or our feet that take us to running, like focusing on things like that can really help us to see that our world doesn't feel so negative and doesn't feel so sad and lonely. And so I think that practicing gratitude for any person is just a really important skill. So I want to share a letter that I wrote to teachers in one of my products. I created a gratitude journal many years ago, actually. This is probably one of my older products on my store in TPT. And I was so excited about this. I thought this was going to be like the product that everyone was going to want. I thought it was so powerful. I thought it was really pretty. I bought this really pretty clip art and I was just so proud of it. And I thought it was just the greatest. And it didn't really go that way. It didn't sell off the charts. It didn't sell out. It doesn't work that way anyway. But it wasn't something that was like a really hot product. And I was very disappointed. And I think I was more disappointed in the fact that I felt like this is something people need. This is something that we need to be doing. And in our classrooms all the time, regularly. And I was sad. I felt disappointed. But I think that, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I created it for people that wanted to practice gratitude in their classrooms and that wanted to teach children how important it is to really think about the things for which we are grateful. And so the people that have purchased it have given me beautiful feedback, and that has meant a lot to me. And then like once I got past the fact that it wasn't like a hot seller, I started to realize that the people that it did impact were special, and it was special to me. So I wrote a letter inside of the product, and I'm going to link to it in my show notes, because and I do have a free version. It's a very short little free version, and I'll link to that as well, because that's just to get you started. The larger one, it's not very much. It's very minimal. But the regular product it gives you the ability to share what you are grateful for, and it gives you 52 weeks. I don't know if it's 52 weeks. It might be 52 weeks. Let me check. It's a 36. It's 36 weeks because it gives you the whole entire weeks of the school year. So it gives you 36 weeks, and then there's two different versions. One that has lines for kids that need lines, and one that doesn't. So for younger kids that maybe they want to draw what they're thankful for. I think it's really shocking to see the things that kids come up with, and how much thinking sometimes needs to go into it. Something else I included was for each week I grabbed a gratitude quote, and finding quotes. Oh, that was really special. I found some really cool quotes, so I was actually really proud of that too. So it gives kids an opportunity to reflect on the quote and maybe like get their imaginations sparked so that they are able to think of things that they want to share in that week. Now, each week only has 3 postings, so you don't have to do it every single day. It can be just a couple times a week. But I think that it's important to practice it. And it really, when I implemented it in my own classroom, that's how long ago I made the product, because it's been a little while now that I've been in my own classroom. I mean, I have had class after class after class as a media specialist, and now I see kids like 90% of my day. But I'm not in the classroom with my own class. But when I was in the classroom with my own class, I implemented this gratitude journal, and because I wanted to see how it worked, and I got some beautiful responses. And what I started to notice when we did this, and we didn't spend a lot of time doing it, it was like something that we did maybe for 5 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more. And sometimes we would have like conversations where I'd have them do like a numbered heads together, and they'd lift up off their sitters, put their heads together, and go around, like starting with number 3 or 4 or whatever you want to start with, randomly starting, and then going around the circle and letting them talk about one thing that they're grateful for. And when everyone had had a chance to share, they would sit back down on their sitters and show me that they were ready. That's one of my favorite Kagan structures. And it's quick and easy. You can think of it all the time. It's high engagement, and you can put it in place for pretty much anything. So I would do a numbered heads together, and the kids would lift up, share what they're grateful for, and then they would have a seat, and then we would talk out. We'd share out what others on the team said that helped with their listening, and then also help with them speaking, being able to speak and share about it. And it was really amazing, actually. It was really incredible. The kids had so much to say, and it was a very powerful strategy to use in the classroom, and it got us in a really positive mind frame, and it kind of changed our mindset. And also, it really started to build kids in the area of self-compassion, because they started to be able to feel grace and compassion towards themselves as they looked at some of the things for which they could be grateful. And I think that, I love that. All right, so this is the letter that I included inside the gratitude journal. And like I said, I'll link to it in the show notes, but I want to share it with you. So, dear teachers, gratitude is a practice. It results in positive thinking. In a difficult time and world, the one true factor that can make the most impact is exercising gratitude. It is complex, yet very simple. The cause of resentment and poor behavior is a direct result of feeling undervalued, not worthy, not heard, like you don't belong, like you're lacking power. When we focus on the things in which we do value and are the most grateful for, we can change resentment into gratitude and even into love. Recognizing and expressing gratitude towards children can change everything. Expressing gratitude is a simple answer for a complex problem. We need to stop thinking about gratitude as an emotion and begin to live it as an action. Living your life as an expression of gratitude is the greatest gift you can give a child and yourself. When children thank while they think better and deeper. Thankfulness teaches children to be in the present, and they want to give back. This journal is meant to help children begin to walk in gratitude. Remember that gratitude practices are not about smiling more and being positive. It is about recognizing the hard part and focusing on the things for which we are grateful for, even if it's been hard. How can we start? We can live by example. We need to thank our students more. We need to share specifically what we are thankful for about them on a daily basis. If not, we are missing the daily practices that can change everything. I'll start. Thank you for your interest in this product. And I'm going to veer off the letter a little here. I thank you for listening to the podcast. I thank you for showing up each week and hearing information from one tired teacher to another. And I'm very thankful for you. I'm thankful for the opportunity to share my voice and to share my experiences and to gather the people that have been on the show to share their expertise. So I feel very thankful for that. And I also want to thank you for the job you do each and every day. Thank you for making it your life's work to change the world one student at a time. I am grateful for your support, and I am grateful to work among you. So that was the letter that I wrote inside the journal. And then it goes on to talk about how you can use it. And there are, a couple of little things that you can do to help you know how to actually put it in place. And there's prompts and quotes, and you can repeat it, and it can be like a really special practice. I want to tell you the 8 tips for how you can use this journal, because whether you purchase it or not, and of course you don't have to. You can simply use a piece of paper. You can use a journal. You can use a notebook. You could even do this digitally. You could do this in like Google Classroom, and they could have a Google document where they kept a journal. And I think that could be really, really special as well. And I think that that's something to consider. I may even do a digital version now that I've said that, because I think that would be, it would include all the quotes and all the things. And I think that could be a very special thing to do. It's a great opportunity for kids to be integrating technology, but also learning to type. I think that's an important skill. And also just like thinking on like letting it flow. And they can also have access to this at home. So they could participate in, when they were feeling really grateful for something at home, they could hop in and write a little gratitude, a piece of gratitude about how they are grateful for something. Sometimes it's easier to do when you have access to something all the time and you're thinking, that's the way you've started to think about the things in which you are grateful. I think that can be really special. So, but it is also in the journal, and then the journal goes on to give you some ideas, and it gives ideas for kids so that they can really think about things that they want to talk about. Because sometimes when you sit down and you're not feeling very grateful, or you're not sure what you want to focus on, I give you some suggestions, and I'll tell you a few now before I go over the 8 tips to how to use this journal. But one of the things, like if being grateful for family, for members of your family, and it can be specific members of the family, it can be things that the family has done for you, it can be how you feel about the family. And this is where you want to use strategies like numbered heads together to get kids thinking. Sometimes you need to let them think first before you have them sit down and write, or you need to let them think and talk it out. So let them gather their thoughts, like pose the question, what are you thinking of your family, what or whom are you grateful for, and let them think for a few minutes. Always give them some think time. And you might even want them to write it down, just to jot it. It doesn't have to be in their journal yet, but just to jot it. And then lift up and do a numbered heads together and let them share. And that will give them even more ideas. So then when they sit down to actually write their gratitude piece, they will have, oh yeah, well, so and so said something about their brother and how their brother is really protective of them, and they felt grateful for that. I have a brother too, and I'm really grateful for him because he makes me feel protected, and he loves me, or whatever. And so it can be really helpful. So it's a really good strategy to use before they start writing, but I also think it's a good strategy to use after they've written, because sometimes it's nice to share that with someone else, and they're really eager to talk about things like that. And I think it's important to let them sometimes. I think this would be a really good activity to do at a morning meeting. I think that's also something to think about. Like they do a little piece of their gratitude, they do a post of their gratitude in their gratitude journal, and then they bring that to the meeting, and you share and discuss it. So I think that could be really helpful as well. So some ideas might be on family. It could be about friends. I think there's tons of things for which we're grateful for when it comes to friends. Things that we see in nature, like, the sunset, or that the leaves are turning different colors because it's fall. Actually, not in Florida. We don't really have that. Our leaves are so green and it's hot, and we're going to hopefully have some sweater weather at some point, but I am grateful for the fact that I'm not freezing to death. So let me take that back. I'm going to turn that around. And that's another thing that you can do. You can model that for your students so that they understand what that looks like. So those are just a few ideas. So there's a ton more in the gratitude journal to help kids really think. But all right, so let's talk about 8 tips for using a gratitude journal, 8 mindful tips for teaching gratitude. So one of the things that they can do, the first thing is think about all the people in your life that you are grateful for like your parents, your grandparents, your sisters, your brothers, your teachers, your friends, and your family. So really thinking about their life. So that's the first tip, is like letting them really think about it, which I basically have shared already, and maybe even a strategy for letting them do that. Another strategy for helping them like brainstorm is a stand up, hand up, pair up, which is another Kagan structure that I think is excellent. And you maybe play some music, and it might even be like some kind of song that you can find where they're like, thankful for life, feeling grateful towards one another. And you're playing that music, kids are circulating, walking around, and then all of a sudden you stop the music, they've got their hand up, and they quickly pair up with the person that's closest to them. And that gives a great conversation about making sure that we don't hurt other people's feelings, and being grateful that we have friends in the classroom and that we've got people in the classroom that can offer their thinking. And so they pair up, I usually have my kids stand back to back because I want their voices off like right away so I can determine if everyone has a partner. If they don't have a partner, they've got their hand in the air, they're looking for the other person that has their hand in the air, and then you can match them up like that. And then you can tell them you give them a signal like go or something like that, or maybe even you say the word gratitude. When I say the word gratitude, you're going to turn around, face your partner, and I always have them predetermined in advance. Like I say, like who is the oldest or who has the longest hair or something like that, so they know who's going first. They're sharing what they're grateful for. The other person is actively listening. It's a great time to teach active listening and what that looks like, and not pre-planning what they're going to say, but actually listening to what their partner is saying. And maybe that looks like nodding along or putting your eyes on the speaker, or, trying to understand, maybe even empathizing, and then allowing the reverse to happen so that they get a chance to be the active listener. The other person gets a chance to be the active listener and they get a chance to speak. So, and then I start the music and off we go again, and they do it again. So they get a little bit of brainstorming going, and they are also moving. They're communicating with one another. There's so many good skills that happen from some of these practices, and it's highly engaging. Everyone's not waiting for one person to share. Everybody is sharing. It's 100% or 50% of the kids are sharing at once, and then the other 50% of kids are sharing. When you go from 50% or from 1% to 50%, that's a pretty significant increase in engagement. All right, so tip number 2 is think about things and experiences in your life that you have been through and why you are grateful you were able to have them. So that can be something pretty profound for kids. Like, it starts to get kind of deep, and depending on the age level, it starts to get kind of deep. Even for my second graders, they were able to be thankful for certain experiences. Even if they weren't the happiest of experiences, they talked about learning to learn, they learned through those experiences. They learned grit or determination, and they were able to share things that were hard, that what they got out of it, the thing they were grateful that they got out of it. So I think that's pretty incredible. Number 3, think about lessons you have learned about life, friendship, and even school. How can you discuss your gratitude for these lessons? So again, it's more deep thinking. It's really thinking about things for which you are feeling like you gained something, and not always feeling the things that you lost. And I don't mean to say that we don't talk about the things that you've lost, because I don't want to say that there's no time for that discussion, because there absolutely is. And we need to have that if we're building a community, and we're building, a community of learners and thinkers and kids that care about one another. So I think that's really important. All right, number 4, if you use it daily, then think about how your day was and write down what you think you are grateful for, or what you think you are thankful for. If you use it weekly, then think about the things in which you are thankful for each week. So that's just a tip. So you can either use it daily or you can use it weekly. Number 5, consider your abilities and skills. Why are you grateful for them? Did you score a goal? Did you get a good grade on a test? Did you finish another book? So those are things as well. And that's really thinking about the things that maybe you are feeling grateful that you are getting better at decoding words, or maybe you're feeling like you are getting better at learning your math facts or something like that, so that they can start to appreciate that they are growing in an area. Or maybe that they want to feel grateful that they didn't learn to read when they were 4, because now they appreciate it so much more that now that they are 6, or whatever the case may be. It's helpful to get them thinking in that way. Number 6, there are so many things to be grateful for. Places can help you think. Like, what are you grateful for outside, in your room, in your classroom, in your house, in your favorite place to play? Number 7, when you get stuck, use your brainstorming page to help you come up with ideas. All right, so that's when I included a brainstorming page, which is, I shared some of those ideas were family, friends, things in nature, places that you've been, things at school, that might be a place. And then number 8, make this a practice you treasure. This will help you live a more positive, grateful life. So those are the tips that I include in the journal, and I want to share with you because you can pretty much make your own as well. and it is something that can really have an impact on your classroom, and you will be surprised. I think that is something that I was really surprised how much, like, what a difference it like was. Such a different mindset. It was a mindset shift in my classroom, even for myself. Like, I did it too. Like, I made sure that I did it with the kids. It was like what we used to do when you would stop everything and read independently, which I love that. And I'm still a high proponent for that's not really the word, but I'm still a strong proponent for reading, like practicing reading. That's how you learn to read better. Just like practicing gratitude, that's how you learn to be thankful. And so that is just one thing that you can do. And I just think that it can be really helpful. So I will include the link to my gratitude journal that you can download for your class. I also have a gratitude lap book, which is really fun, and it kind of is for younger kids. It's more of a primary product, and they are creating a lap book at this time of year for things that they are thankful for, and it walks you through like some of the things, like, you know, family and places and things like that, and it turns out so cute. It is adorable, and it's fun to hang that up in the wall, and it's fun to like let them take that home for Thanksgiving as something that they can share and show at, you know, maybe even at Thanksgiving at the meal, because it's like it's really cute, and it turns out really cute, and I will link to that in the show notes as well. All right, so I hope that you are starting to see the benefit and the power of gratitude, and really having and being mindful of what you are grateful for. I know that I'm feeling very thankful again for you all, and for being able to share on the podcast. So, all right, next week we will be talking about Thanksgiving must-reads. I didn't want to get too far behind before Thanksgiving. I know we're closing in on it, and we've got it's still a couple of weeks away, but I wanted to get the opportunity to share some of the things early so you can be planned and prepared. I think I was a little close to the edge with a couple of Halloween episodes that I did, so I don't want to get too far past that. And then we will get back on track with some really strong standards-based work, and I have been taking a deeper look at phonemic awareness again, and really going back to all my training and trainer notes that I have. I used to be a phonemic awareness trainer for my district, and because I feel like we've kind of lost our way a little bit in that. So we're going to be talking about that in the new year. So I'm excited about that. And of course, we're going to be focusing on behavior in the new year as well. And so I think that's exciting, and all other things teaching. And I'm ready to have some guests on the show. So if you have something really cool that's going on in your classroom that you would like to share, or you're feeling especially strong about something that's going on in education, I would love to have you. So email me at tdebery@trinadebery.teachingandlearning.com, or you can message me on Facebook, and I'm on Facebook as Trina Debery. You can also find my page at Trina Debery Teaching and Learning and message me through that as well. All right, this one tired teacher is actually feeling pretty thankful that I have the softest bed and the best pillow in the world. Until next time, sweet dreams and sleep tight.